All right, moving on to some breaking news now coming in from Telangana, where the Telangana journalists who were placed under arrest for their journalism critical of the Chief Minister have now been granted bail. Bail will be granted to Revathi and Thanvi Yadav. The orders were made by the court, by Nampally Court. Remember, the duo had been held for their reportage or post, which was against the Chief Minister, Revanth Reddy. That it was an abusive video against the Telangana Chief Minister. Well, let's go across to Uma Sudhir. And Uma, you've been tracking all these developments and, these two journalists who were held for their post critical of the Chief Minister. Now they will be given bail?
Yes, indeed. The orders just coming in from the Nampally courts, and we understand that both Revathi as well as Thanvi Yadav have been granted bail by the Nampally court, and the custody plea that was placed by the police has been dismissed by court. About a 25,000 rupee surety has been asked to be paid in this particular case, and they will be expected to appear weekly before the police. The details of which we should be able to know in a short while. Just earlier in the afternoon, at around 2 to 2:30 p.m. is when the BRS leaders had in fact gone in to meet both Revathi as well as Thanvi Yadav, and subsequently came out and spoke about violation of the freedom of the press, and they said that it was wrong on the part of the police to have arrested them in this manner. Of course, the Chief Minister has taken a very strong view of what had happened in terms of the posting, and he had said that such derogatory, humiliatory kind of comments being made on social media or on any other media is not going to be tolerated, and he sought to make a distinction between what he called as journalists and those who he said were imposters pretending to be journalists, and he said that he would take a very strong action against them. He even spoke about stripping them and parading them, while also saying in the same breath that he is going to be working within the confines of the law in this particular case. So Revathi and Thanvi Yadav now have been granted bail, and presumably they may be released this evening or tomorrow morning.
All right, Uma, if you could tell us more about these journalists. They have a YouTube channel and they had platformed somebody who made very abusive and rude comments against the Chief Minister.
Actually, this entity that we are talking about, Pulse, channel, is hardly about a couple of months old. And what we do understand is that from the content on the channel, it would appear that it was, yes, politically motivated, and it had been extremely critical of the Chief Minister. In this particular instance, there was an unidentified man who was seen talking to Thanvi Yadav, and she seemed to be asking questions that are leading him to say very abusive things about the Chief Minister, about his family, and he even speaks about, he would attack them physically if he were to come face to face with them, and speaking about great disappointment with the Congress party. But largely it is because very derogatory language and abusive language was used in that, and Revathi, as the owner of the channel, had posted it, and she had also amplified it. What the police is saying in this particular context is that this video had in fact been shot inside the BRS office. The Bharat Rashtra Samiti office is where the police suspect this has been shot, and they believe that the video was shot in the month of February and that it was kept for release and amplification at the time when the assembly session is going to happen, and that is with an idea of defaming the government, is the theory that the police came up with. And they have in fact attributed political motives in this entire manner, and they are also saying that they will be looking into the funding for Revathi's channel and the channel in which Thanvi Yadav was working. So they are going to look at where the funding came from and what kind of content was being put on it.
That's right. In fact, Uma, you spoke to K.T. Rama Rao. He criticized this move of arresting the two journalists, even saying that it's like emergency in Telangana.
Yes, K.T. Rama Rao said that this is akin to the emergency time when journalists were not allowed to say what they are allowed to say. I, in fact, asked him also another question, which the Congress has been saying, suggesting that this channel has been funded by the BRS. And he said, so what if the channel has been funded by some, and people still would have the right to post what they want to say or, raise in the public domain? Because he pointed out that there are several media channels, especially in the digital media or other media as well, which could be owned by particular political parties or funded by individuals with certain interests, but all of them would could be posting stuff which is in the public interest, and they are working as journalists. And he pointed out that he believes that Revathi and Thanvi Yadav were both journalists who were being unfairly attacked, and the manner in which they were picked up and taken into custody by the police is also come into question by the court itself. The remand report of the court, in fact, asked them to give a show cause report to the investigating officer, saying how did you go in plain clothes early morning to the home of this journalist and then arrested her and did not inform her family. So all those questions had to be answered by the investigating officer. After the court, in fact, demanded to know or issued a show cause notice to the investigating officer, asking about the irregularities in the intimation of the arrest and also the manner in which the arrest had happened.